Okay, so I figured I'd do a video. I usually wait until the market opens, or until we get the new start of the new week for Bitcoin. But there's been so much movement downward. We had a reversal candle that kind of failed. I was a little skeptical about that rally, and I'll tell you why later. But basically, this downward movement all started here on the 12th. When I did a video on that day, I said within a day or two, I felt that we were going to be back in this upper level, like 58, 59 area. What I didn't account for, and which is kind of odd, Elon Musk had posted how Tesla was going to stop supporting buys for using Bitcoin. They weren't going to. They had functionality, not even for long, maybe about a month, month and a half, where you could buy a Tesla using Bitcoin. Well, come to find out, they didn't sell any Teslas. No one bought a Tesla with Bitcoin, but the market took that news. I guess I don't know. There was you know it scared the market, or it not scared the market, but it really caused the market to move. It introduced volatility. Uh, so that came out, and then just not even a couple. I would say less than a day later, there was the narrative that it's uh, I guess it came out in the same tweet. So also in that same tweet, it was a statement released by Tesla, was that they didn't want to take Bitcoin because they felt like it was basically bad for the environment. Elon did say that he didn't sell any of his personal holdings. Tesla had sold a certain amount of their Bitcoin position, but they still hold over $1 billion of it, um, to test what they said liquidity, to I guess make sure that if they ever wanted to sell, that they could sell into the market. So, but since then, since the 12th, all this, Bitcoin bad for the environment, and then Elon having such influence has basically accelerated. The whole community is pretty much turned on Elon Musk. Uh, I mean, he had tweeted he's working with Dogecoin devs. Doge has not been worked on significantly since like 2018. As far as devs go, there's probably I would say less than 100 devs working on Doge. He also made some comments that Doge needs to be, if it's 10 times faster, 100 times faster, and 10 times cheaper, something like that. Let me see if I can find that tweet because I actually responded to it. That's not how block size. He wanted to increase the block size. Uh, that's not how you know. It's not how that works. If you increase block size, you have more volume. Uh, Doge is still proof of work. So if I increase the block size and I have larger volume, that in turn, uh, fees are a function of block size. So there's already been um, basically what they called a Bitcoin civil war in 2017 between big blockers and people who wanted to keep the block size of Bitcoin to 1 megabyte blocks. So and then Peter McCormack reached out to him to, kind of commented a long thread. You can read that there if you follow him or if you have a Twitter. And then he basically said that uh, he just disregarded him. He just basically blew him off, which was kind of, I mean, you see someone and they're doing so well, but then he obnoxious threads like this make me want to go all in on Doge. I don't know if he expected that to cause Doge to shoot up, maybe, but it didn't do anything. Uh, so it's like, I mean, you can see some of these comments that it's getting pretty bad. Like, not to Elon, but basically to everyone who's kind of criticizing him. It looks like Elon has a certain amount of followers that kind of have his back, which is fine. But um, just a lot of the statements that he's made the past couple of days are arguments that have been around for an extremely long time, and they've all been pretty much, uh, they've all been argued and resolved, and it's not like he's coming up with anything new. Here's a tweet highly centralized, and he's talking about all the hash rate being, or all the mining being in China or a specific province in China, but those miners can move to any pools that they want. They don't have to stay there. The reason that they're there is because there's cheap electricity, electricity that would, you know, electricity that would otherwise be abandoned. And let's just see, Bitcoin is going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their holdings. Uh, the amount of hate Elon is getting, I wouldn't blame him. Indeed, and I guess that was 47 minutes ago. So no, that was on the 16th. Is that today? Yeah, that was today. Uh, it says PM, but it's not. He must be in a different time zone. But I mean, that's fine. I mean, if he doesn't feel like the community fits him, Bitcoin doesn't need Elon Musk or Tesla to be successful. It's been successful all these years. This is something I haven't seen. So that's fine. I mean, if they dump into the market and that's what they're doing, that's causing this to sell off, that's fine. I mean, I actually said it was perfectly possible that, given how much we've fallen, that if news comes out that Elon has dumped, I wouldn't doubt if we see a trend that is just uncharacteristic of Bitcoin's price movement, um, to where he would sell, and you could see possibly half of this. I mean, it could definitely go to all these lower levels, which I marked on my charts for a reason, um, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that uh, Bitcoin's going to zero or it's failed or anything like that. It just means that someone who, I mean, I guess bought a large amount of Bitcoin has now exited, and for the amount that he has, does this not? Yeah, that needs to be cleared out. Yeah, for the amount that he has, and I guess a little bit more influence as far as uh, social media goes, he carries a little bit of weight. So the price action might be greater than what it would have given the amount of Bitcoin that they hold. Like if they would have sold 1.5 billion, Bitcoin is $1 trillion market. 1.5 billion of a trillion is nothing. Um, let's see how much they have, because Bitcoin treasuries should have an updated amount based on what's been out on how much they hold. So Tesla, 43,000 Bitcoin, 1.5 billion today, 2 billion. So 2 billion of a $1 trillion market. I mean, that's, on a grand scheme of things, that's nothing. So if they exit, they exit. That's fine. I mean, I know that Grayscale holds 28 billion. So they're significantly larger players in this space. And Tesla, that's 0.2%. That's nothing. So if they exit, they exit. That's fine. But the fact that of the individual who's exiting, I guess maybe puts a little bit more weight, because he's more, the public is more familiar with who Elon Musk is versus who Stanley Druckenmiller is versus who Michael Saylor is versus who some of these other larger investment firms, Mike Novogratz. They don't. They're common names if you're in the space, but they don't know who those bigger players are, who have significantly more than probably Elon has, or clients that they're working with as a total that have more Bitcoin than Elon, or Elon and Tesla hold. So we'll see. I mean, I just think this is market volatility. It's not uncharacteristic of the technical analysis. It's just maybe fueling a little bit. There was areas here, so I'm gonna get into the pricing now. So you can see here. I mean, we're down. Let's see what. So Bitcoin dominance is around 40%. Ethereum's down, but I mean, whenever Bitcoin goes down, eventually the whole market goes down. Cardano was a little bit immune to it for the past maybe 2 or 3 days. It's starting to go down. Doge is starting to go down. It's already 49. So a lot of people like to talk about the space, how there's independent movers, and there's going to be a coin that's going to overtake Bitcoin. Bitcoin has so much price history uh, and adoption through this past decade that whenever Bitcoin moves, usually the other coins move. So that's that. That's that on Twitter. If you want to uh, read more of what Elon's posting, you can go do that. I'm not going to waste time on that, because honestly, a lot of the arguments that he's made, uh, I kind of chimed in on them. A lot of people are chiming in on them that know just as much as me, if not more than me, and are more technical on the technical side as well, as far as having the ability to code and program and actually know the Bitcoin code to comment on various other things. So I've kind of already. I'm not going to waste my time with any of his posts. People can waste their time and argue with him. A lot of my tweets were just there to try to maybe explain, kind of give a little bit of insight to where he would maybe, not that he's going to see the tweet, but that he would maybe think about what's going on. So yeah, so getting back to, so just so that he would possibly maybe just think about what's going on. But I mean, he's a busy guy, and being an expert in everything. I mean, you only have your limits. You only have so much time. But I mean, he's running many other businesses. Uh, Enough about Elon Musk. So yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time with him. Um, Others can fight that battle. I'm just going to move on and do price analysis and worry about other things that are more important. Learning more about the protocol, uh, more about fintech and economics and where the space is going, because the future is still extremely bright. Even if Tesla sells, if this is all Tesla selling, to be honest, I'm happy, because then there's less influence that Elon Musk would have if he doesn't believe in Bitcoin, or it's where it's going. Then it's very perfectly fine for him to go and work on other projects. I mean, he can go and work on Doge. I mean, in honesty, Doge is up for the taking. If Tesla wants to overtake Doge and just make make Dogecoin Tesla's coin, they can do that, because there's no developers, nobody's working on the projects. There's so many flaws in that code. People care about it because it's going up, it's making them money, they want more dollars. If it wasn't going up, people would not care. Um, there's no applications that Doge has had over the past couple of years. Bitcoin, uh, there's a lot more developers working on it. Um, so it has more adoption, basically. All right, so let's look at price analysis. So yeah, so when we went here and we recovered. I mean, this was a reversal candle, but we didn't get that green number that I liked on the 9 here to call it a retest. So we had it here, came down. I would have liked to see this rally turn into a green number, and that would have signaled to me, the way I trade TD sequential, that this was a good bounce. We had good volume come in, and uh, we retested the area properly. We didn't see that, and this day kind of went flat, and then it started to fade out. So that's is on the daily. I mean, we're in this channel here, and if we break down, even though it's against all of the historical price action, especially in this phase, we are the target for this channel is all the way down to 30,000. So that's one target to the downside. Now, am I bearish here? No, because just like I was neutral here, I'm neutral also down here. Even though there's so much fear in the market, here there was so much exuberance in the market, it didn't push me to be to be more bullish. This is not going to push me to be more bearish. I'm just showing what the TA is showing. So we have 3 more hours for price to rally back above this channel. You see support here. Here it kind of went down a little bit. I could honestly move this if I wanted to right here. Right there. That doesn't change anything. Oh, hold on. Let's see. So if I want to include this, I think I really drew this on the weekly. Yeah, so this was based on, I drew this on, my mic cut out, I think, for a little bit. So whenever I drew this on, for the weekly. So that's why this is kind of outside of it. This is here. So so we're here, I would say within the next, so we have about 3 hours for it to rally back above 45 to 30. Let me lock this down. Because I think if we close, I mean, this candle here, I mean, I know then I had said that this wasn't good, you'd be 15% out of your position, and you wouldn't re-enter until you had a weekly close above the prior 2-week high and you had the 3-week close above the 8-week. That would still be true. You'd still be out. You'd still only be 75% of your position in. So, but here, again, here we closed below the prior 2-week low, and really it was a low set. How many weeks? 6 weeks, a month and a half before. Now we're clearing all these buyers out that came in that supported the price. Some of these people probably exited. So, I mean, this is the low all the way back from February. If we were to close the week below this, below 43, I mean, even though historically, once price on the has doubled and closed the monthly double above the previous all-time high, we've never even had a candle wick below that on any time frame. That would be, what was the prior all-time high? Prior all-time high was 891.99. So let me see. What's double that? That's 39,783.98. So did I put that on here? I think that's what this was supposed to represent. Yeah, 39,783.98. Oh, I did put it, but I mistyped it. That's supposed to be a 783, not 383. Okay, now I can lock that. All right, so here we go. So that's locked. So right there, price, that's basically the bottom. Anything below that would be uncharacteristic of, especially given if we're midway through this cycle. So what's our drop? Because we're definitely more than what we were before. And here we go. So we are, and we're still getting these larger drops. We are 32% above the high. I said 15 to 25%. That had been characteristic of what we had, or what, I mean, the argument was that we have, the landscape's different. The investors that are in this, the people basically playing the game are new. Not new, but it's a different crowd. There's not as much retail in this. Why are these not correct? Where is this going to? I'm not sure where that's going. That might have been an old. I'm going to delete that. And I'll bring this one back up. Because the dip here was much greater than that. This one's locked. The dip here went 31. Yeah, that's where it should be. Save that. So that's 31%. I think the previous drops were much less than that, because this one you would have said here 26%. So that's when that 15 to 25%. And even here, this one right here, this one was all the same week, 20% from the high. Actually, no, that wasn't a dip. This would have been the dip right here. 18%. This one was 26%. And then this one is the larger one, 32%. So in bull cycles, we're within that 30 to 40%, which we had on the previous, basically on the previous decade. And there was a lot of argument that we wouldn't get those price swings, those larger price swings. We're still like at the 30 area. They were like 30 to 40%. I mean, the majority of them were like 35 to 40%. I can bring up the older chart, which I have marked on here, of all the dips from one of the previous cycles for price range. I thought I made it on this chart. Maybe not. Well, this was a 38% drop. Maybe, was it on Bitfinex maybe? I think it's on Bitstamp. I have a chart on Bitstamp that shows them all. This one. Yeah, here they are. So this is the previous cycle. So we have 38, 30, 38, 34, 33, 40, There's one here. Why is this one not marked? 38, 29. So we're still within those type of those areas. Yeah, the drops hadn't been as high um, during this cycle, but it looks like in specific times um, or specific narratives, we're getting a little bit. I don't know what this narrative was. And then we also had some FUD come out last week. Department of Justice was possibly, or they are going, or they are in the process of investigating Binance. Um, so, and that was really having Binance isn't. It is okay to trade on Binance in some states, but I guess, there's still a possibility that there was some individuals that weren't allowed to trade in the United States yet still using Binance. So that I know, basically providing services to U.S. customers whenever that they didn't qualify to do that yet. Um, so yeah, so we're here in this 32% drop. Was that it? Is this it? Let's look at all my marks here. This really needs to close, like I said, above 45,231 on the weekly within the next basically 3 hours. Is that possible? Let's look at the CMF and see what's happening with that. All right, so CMF does not. I mean, there's no buying coming in. There's nobody coming in to save us here. This looks uncharacteristic, and something I had talked about before was that we could possibly get this double peak that we saw in 2013. Now, we didn't get quite as high, right? I mean, this would have suggested we should have gotten in this red area, maybe crashed down. I think this crash was rather large, 80% or something like that. Let's see. This has all the data I need. Where are we at? 2013 is what I'm looking for. And this is around April. Here we go. This is it right here. I know I looked at it before. So the drop was 80%. So 80% drop, and then had a big price rally, essentially 10,000% from the previous low. From this high, though, it rallied, I think, 10x. No, not that high. It was less than that. So 300 and so about a little over 4x from the previous high, because the previous high was like 250 and it went up to 1,000. Yeah, 1,000. And then you had the pullback, the larger pullback. But this is what I was talking about. The double peak in 2013. We didn't quite get that here. I mean, we're starting. It looks like we're right here, back by this area of bullish to maybe bearish area. So once it breaks this, based on the mirror multiple bands below 324, that's bearish. I mean, if you trade these bands. So I did say, stock to flow. I did say that there was going to be models that broke during the cycle. Not all of them were going to hold because there was so many that were contradictory to each other. And the one that kind of stuck out to me was this golden ratio multiplier. It had continuously hit the top of every single one based on the golden ratio. So the golden ratio for this cycle was at 3, this 3 area, and we hit it and it started to collapse down. So now, I mean, it's all the way down here to 27,000. Historically, it's gone lower. This cycle is not like any other cycle. I said it was something we had to be mindful of, and it's showing, yes, we had to be mindful of it. So maybe it was right. I mean, and it basically says the next cycle is where the 2 is. And that right now is at 53. Is this thing going to hold up for the next decade? I don't think so, but right now it's holding. This almost seems like this holds and then we get price stability in Bitcoin, which is what this suggests to me. There's also a lot of other indicators that just, there's a lot of things that's not meshing. So you have our 200-week moving average, and this is just mellowing out. We didn't get these orange and red peaks, which is basically a reason why I'm saying I don't think I still think we're mid-cycle. I think we're seeing a sell-off that is uncharacteristic and is basically saying that Bitcoin at the current moment is undervalued. So that's that. That's the price target if we break the channel. What was it, 38 or 28? So we have 30,000, right, if we break the channel. And then people have been drawing this head and shoulders. I like to do cup and handles, so I'll draw that too, and then we can go through that, and then I think I'll wrap this up. But as far as CMF goes, CMF does not look good. There's no buyers coming in. There isn't bullish divergence anywhere. On the weekly, it's trending down. I mean, these patterns, I mean, there is something here. There's some bullish divergence here. And what do we hit here? We're on a 2, but we close this out. This is trending down. We hit a 9. It's just doing nothing. This could just consolidate here. We hit the 9, sold off, hit another 9. That means there's going to be resistance right here at 49. Okay, so let's look at Bollinger Bands. Let's see how oversold we actually are. We're below this Bollinger Band area. We could see a price rally within the next day or two given how much we've fallen. And this whole run-up, we haven't really been outside of the Bollinger Bands at all, especially not this much of the candle. Let's see where we're at on the weekly. On the weekly, we're pretty much in the middle. 4 hour, we're probably way outside. Oh, we're not way outside of them, but we are outside of it. We were here, went sideways, came a little up. Maybe more on the daily. Let's look at the Bollinger Band width, because I know I had said some things about the Bollinger Band width. Yeah, so like that price volatility was low. And if that we were up here, I thought we would break out, but had a sell-off, and now price volatility is going up, and we're more on the downside. You can see here, price volatility going down, 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 and it's starting to trend up. Weekly's probably doing the same thing. No, it's still trending down, but this will start to turn probably in the next couple of weeks. I know I talked about the hash ribbon. Hash ribbon historically has been a good marker of a time to buy. Now, we did have some of that hash rate go down. Looks like it was starting to come back up, and then now it's widening. Still think we get a cross within the next couple of weeks, but we'll see what miners start to do as if price continues to accelerate downward. Ichimoku Cloud, we'll bring that up because usually on downsides, it's very good at showing areas of support. We're here, we're within this cloud. This is still bullish. Across here, we could get across in a bull cycle. I think we had one last time. Or did we not? We did not. So once we started the cycle, we did not have a cross until we entered the bear part of the cycle. Yeah, this is all 2017, no cross. We got extremely close here where it kind of compressed, spiked below it a little bit, found support, here, and it didn't cross until here, but that also marked, yeah, it went into the cross. So what do we have here? Starting to compress doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cross. Yeah, it usually takes a long time. Weekly, oh, look, we're finding support here at the conversion line. We'll see how that happens. What did it do the last time? We'd hit it a couple times here. I'll zoom in there. Here. This was our mid-year, which that was mid-cycle. So we're hitting it here. We hit that lower one. That lower one is way down there, though. It really hasn't caught up. That's at 35. 4 hour. Let's see where we're at on the 4 hour. Yeah. So it would have been nice for this to cross in, but this is on the 4 hour. This is showing some bearish movement. It really didn't find support here. Went into the cross, bounced, and came back. So Ichimoku looks like we're getting some support in some of these cloud areas. The SAR is probably broken. Yep. Weekly hasn't really started a new week. Once that breaks to the upside, that'll be bullish. But I mean, price would have already recovered significantly by that time. So here's what I was also worried about whenever we broke down was that we broke down and then we went negative as far as the market was net short. And then we kind of started to, well, we went kind of neutral. It's still neutral. That's actually okay. But it was the 4 hour where it started to recover a good bit. So here was a large sell-off. That's, we're going to get support. We rallied up and then it started going positive. And then today, or within the last day, it was positive, and then it's still kind of neutral to positive. This needs to go negative. On the hourly, there was a large dump a few hours ago where the market went net short right here. So it was all positive, went net short. I'd like to see this go, neutral to negative. Maybe price comes up, finds stability here. But like I said, the CMF is not suggesting that. On balance volume, haven't looked at that in a while. We're getting some bullish divergence there on the daily, on the weekly. It's kind of still just flat. 4 hour, that's broken down. No bullish divergence there, but on the on the daily it is, but that trend on the 4 hour could carry over to the daily. We'll look at the RSI. That RSI is probably close to being oversold. I'm gonna bring up the CMF one more time because it's already crossed zero. And I remember talking here that this was a good that we had broken above these levels, but then the next day we get this tweet about all this FUD, and then it just broke down, man. Price just broke down. And I mean, oh yeah, so here on the daily, we're getting a little bit of bullish divergence. Not much to talk about, but I would say that we're on a 7. We're going to hit an 8 and a 9. We're going to get to these lower 41 areas. If I'm just looking at this, I don't know what it is. And I'm not aware of historical price action. I would say we're probably going to touch these lower 41.5 areas. We'll get oversold. We'll see if the CMF starts to trend up. We have bullish divergence here on the RSI, but we're lacking any sort of CMF. Oh yeah, well, I said that. So CMF is bullish divergence. RSI is bullish divergence. We could see a rally. I would like to see that carried over on the hourly. Not yet, but you can see there's a big bullish divergence here because price is going down and we're getting our indicator going up. Here it's breaking. It's just going with a trend. So kind of conflicting indicators. Again, this just leads me to be neutral until we get a break of that channel. Oh, I did say something about cup and handle. So until we get a break of that channel. So where's my cup and handle? It's a head and shoulders or it's a cup and handle. I want to draw that. And then I said I would wrap it up. And I kept on talking. I mean, this is a lot that's happening. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of individuals who had put money in and thought they were buying the dip and are concerned. But I mean, that's the way dip buying goes. It's you're not always going to feel confident. I mean, there might be a little bit of confidence. You did your research, and historically, based on what's happening, that this is a good time to buy. I'm going to put it here. I'll put it on this lower marker. So there we go. And then this would be here. Okay. So you have a neckline for cup and handle and a head and shoulders. Probably going to call the neckline this right here, this bottom end. So where's the target? It's basically the height of the channel, right? As far as the target for this lower handle part, it was 30,000. Here we're basically 32,000. So that's 30,000. What's the larger target? Larger target is all the way back down to 26, 28. You can also do this based on percentages. So I would go here to here. I would get another 25% drop. from this bottom. So like, yeah, 25%. So that would be all the way to about 30, lower 30s. And then you can do it here on this larger one. Here, 28%, lower 30s. So basically, if we're going to do a target, and I'm basing it on historical price action and what's happened in the past, I'm going to say we get to here, right here, which would be a retest of the 9 all the way back from January 10th. Let me get rid of this. All the way back from January 10th, right here. This just needs to be a red number, and then that's a retest. Obviously, you can see that there's, there was a high, a low, and then it broke out. And then large breakout on the daily, night, almost 20% in one day, $7,000, $7,500 day. And then we've kind of been there since then, consolidated, didn't get any enough momentum to go back up. Now we're breaking back down. We're clearing out all these buyers basically from February. Everyone who is, man, it's a long time. I mean, that's going to smoke the, personally, I feel like that this breaks down. If we stay below 45,231, anyone who's in the alts, Bitcoin's going to maybe go down another 10%. You're going to see those alts probably crash. A lot of them 30 to 50%. Because those usually trend a lot low, whenever there's downtrend, they trend much, they tend to fall greatly, much more than Bitcoin. But hey, we still got 2.5 hours to get back up above this line, 45,283, which, I mean, yeah, we've fallen a lot, but that's, another 2.5 to 3%. But yeah, if we break this, we close this. Historically, I say we don't go below this. If I'm going through the technical analysis of this and the patterns that have formed, we're going to go to the lower 30s. But this area all right here is going to be, there should be large support in these lower 40s, upper 30s. And if the bullish market tends to stay intact, I mean, technically we could fall, we could fall to this lower area. Now, if we fell to the lower 30s, that would be uncharacteristic again of a bull cycle, unless this was a double top area and we don't get this 80% drop. We get a 50% drop and then we go up again. But like I said, trading's dynamic, not static. I tend to lean more on what happened historically in Bitcoin in the past. I'm going to say, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to say we don't get below 40, we don't get below this 39,789. The majority of the selling's already over. I know there's other patterns here that are saying that we're going to go lower. But I'm in the belief that we are, so here's the Fibonacci that I drew recently. It's saying that we should have found support here at 46. The next Fibonacci area is this 38, which is in this massive area of where support is. So, like I said, I don't think we're going below 41,452, but there's massive amounts of support here. So maybe we do go below it for the first time ever in history, and it's an outlier, and for the next 20 years. But then we find support in this area, and then we go higher. Has Bitcoin ever gone back to a previous all-time high once it's broken it? No. It's always, the bear cycle has always been above that. And then, we rally from that. So even here, whenever it was in 2018, whenever it had sold off from the 1,000, the previous high was, where was it at? The previous high, let's see. Previous high, well, that's 1,000. I think it was like 30. Oh no, it's 268. So it did go back below that high. So yeah, so the data is really just one cycle. I thought it was 2 cycles. So it did go back below that high, but since then it hasn't. But that's only 1 cycle's worth of data. So based on the 2013 cycle, it can. Based on the 2017 cycle, it wouldn't. It's only 2 points, so we'll see what happens. I still don't think we're getting that low. We just had too much buy. The breakout was tremendous. I don't see that happening. So, but we'll see. That's the analysis. I covered a massive amount. So again, I'm neutral. I will be bearish on price if we close the week, which is just in a couple hours, 2.5 hours. If we close this week, I'm not going to be super bearish. I will be bearish. If we close this week below 45,230, I think we get to 41,450, and that's the limit of my bearishness, and then I would have to reevaluate. But there is some moving averages that were significant in Bitcoin prior, and they are now. The 128, which we thought we bounced off of, the 200 is the next one. Let me bring up, I have some that do like a forecast. There we go. So within tomorrow, it'll be somewhere around 39.5. I guess it is around 39.5 now. 39.4. By the 19th, it'll be 39.850 about, which is in this area. I can show you what it did in the last cycle. I think we did hit the 200 at one point. Then, can I remember what the FUD was? No. Here we go. Oh no, that was the beginning of the bear cycle. I know we hit it here, right here. So we went a little bit below 128. We spiked, caught the 200, and then price rallied quickly. I don't know what happened on April 15th of 2017. I don't quite remember. We did it here in August, but I mean, yeah, we can say that the bull cycle probably started May 2016. So we caught it here, and then we caught it again here. We did go below the 128 for a little while. So could we catch it here in the next couple of days? Yeah, we could. And it would be likely that if the bull cycle wants to stay intact, we rally from it. Because if not, the time that we didn't essentially bounce off of it and went below it for a couple of days, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin had already sold off. Indicators said you should have been out. If we're going off of the weekly trends, like I said, you'd be 25% out of your position, and you wouldn't start getting out completely until both of these moving averages close below the 30, and you had a 2-week close, or you had a weekly close below the prior week low. So you're still in it. It's a big drop, but you're still in the Bitcoin trade, and that's because we didn't have this type of extended rally on the weekly. We did here, but then we consolidated for so long, which is not characteristic of what happened here. It's different. There's also some price targets here that showed, based off of the Mayer multiple bands, yeah, we're in an overbought area. We didn't, and also based off of stock to flow, that was the area that was overbought. Based off of the weekly heat map, that was an area that should have been indication of a high. And then based off of Willy Woo's chart analysis here, which has caught the high of every single cycle, that you should have been cautious. We're not even close. It's at 140 right now. So nothing indicating that this is a high. So you're basically bringing all that information together. You're treating this as a mid-cycle dip, and you're not exiting until these moving averages close below the longer-term moving average, and you have a weekly close below the prior week low, and then you could exit, and then you would start to look at areas to re-enter based off of moving averages. These moving averages, this strategy. That's the way I trade it. That's the way I trade a lot of assets. It's paid off. So, but we're getting a little bit of a price rally. We just really need to rally another, $800. So we'll see. But hopefully that maybe eases some people's mind a little bit. If not, I'm sorry. I'm just here for technical analysis and to provide that information. You can make your own trades. I just hope I provided a little bit of insight into what's going on. So appreciate it, and thanks for watching.